Welcome to the No Guilt Fangirls Podcast, where liking what you like is never a bad thing. Here's your host and head fangirl in charge, Patty Holiday.
Hey y'all, welcome to the No Guilt Fangirls Podcast. I'm your host and head fangirl in charge, Patty Holiday. And this is the continuation of season 6 of Schitt's Creek, the recap episode. And if you are new here and just stumbled across this, please note this is completely spoilery. We are going to rehash it all. It's our little therapy sesh after every episode that Jamie and I have together, because we need to talk about it, and we, think you might need to talk about it, especially after last night. Oh my gosh, Jamie.
We're all virtually holding hands right now.
Pretty much. That was just okay. But anyway, so we're going to get through this real quick. Everybody, this is Jamie. Jamie has been talking Schitt's Creek with me. She is actually the person to blame for getting me involved with Schitt's Creek in the first place. Thank you so much for changing my life. We do go that far as to say that. So last night was episode 8, if I am doing my mental math right. And this one is called The Presidential Suite. And I love how they chose that as the title, because they definitely didn't want to give anything away, because this was hands down the most emotional episode to date.
For sure.
100%. Yeah, it just, wow. So give us a little recap of this very spoilery episode that we're about to talk about, people. Spoil. You've been warned. Give us a little recap.
Okay. Well, last night we opened to the hilarious ribbon cutting ceremony at the new motel with a giant ribbon and some cuticle clippers. And then we just got a look at the inside of the new motel, which is very 60s retro themed. Pretty cool little place. So yeah, we kind of explored that a little bit, looked at the presidential suite. Another thing, a favorite character is back. We got to see Ray last night because he was doing the engagement photos for our boys, Patrick and David. And, we really needed Patrick and David last night. We're going to get into it here in a second, but they were doing their engagement pictures, and David wanted Patrick to get a little bit of color so he didn't look so washed out compared to David's Mediterranean glow, as he continued to say.
Mm-hmm.
So he sent him on a spa retreat. Yeah, Patrick came back looking like a cheese puff, to put it in David's words. So
he was looking a little orange, our sweet Patrick.
His eyebrows were gone. It was amazing. And now it has given us internet gold. And I'm sure we'll get into that tomorrow. And again, a little Easter egg shout out. We figured out that it was the Allez-vous bronzer that Patrick used. So that's what kind of made him look like that. And the big item of the night is Ted is home. Ted came back home, and yeah. And that was the episode.
That was the episode. All right. So I started watching immediately as soon as the timing came on and it started. I turned it on. I sat down. I started watching it, and I think about 15 minutes in, I sent you the text.
Yep.
So I texted you about 10, 15 minutes in, and it said, "I'm totally bawling. OMG."
Yes.
And you said, "Already? We're going to start in a minute. I'm so excited," because you didn't know what bawling meant. You didn't know if I was happy bawling, if I was sad bawling, because I just said, "I'm totally bawling," right?
Yes. And honestly, I thought it was like a super sweet moment because the Schitt's Creek Twitter account said, "We're going back to where it all started."
And they did.
So, yeah.
And they did.
At Ray's office. And I was like, oh my God, there's going to be the sweetest moment between Patrick and David. And I'm so excited.
Yep. Well, that wasn't it.
That's not at all.
And then a few minutes later, your next response was, OMG. And then there's this great gif of Tina Fey. I totally trusted you. And you're like, me to Dan Levy. And I was like, yep. So
Yeah, because again, if you have listened to this, I keep saying I trust in Dan. Dan's gonna take care of Alexis and Ted.
well,
And
okay,
he
and to
did,
be
and he
fair,
did.
yeah, to be fair, as much as I am a lover of happy endings and whatever, as long as it felt true to the character or felt there was a reason or a purpose to do this, I was going to be okay, right? And that was where my trust was
Right.
whatever they do, it's going to make sense. It's going to be okay. It's not just there to get us emotional, right?
Right.
It actually, I think there's a reason. And Jamie, okay,
So
so guys, what
I was gonna say, so
happens?
do we need to tell
Yeah,
everybody?
so I'm assuming everybody's watched it, but in case you haven't, so what happens? Ted shows up. He says, I just needed to talk to you because there's something I have to tell you face to face. And Alexis is like, are you breaking up with me? And he's like, no, I am not breaking up with you. So all of us are like, yay.
Yeah.
And then he follows up with, however, I got offered my dream job, my dream position, and it's at the Galapagos Islands, and I would stay there for 3 more years. And she just looks at him and she's like, you have to do that, but I can't go. I would I move there? Like she said, like, would I move there? And he's like, I don't know. Would you? Because I think, oh God, they're just so smart. What I love about this is it's been very clear over this separation is that as much as they love each other and they want to be together, Alexis would wither up and die. She'd be miserable in the Galapagos.
Yes.
And Ted knows it and she knows it, right? And so as much as she was willing to say, I will do this for you, I will come and be with you, I think this time frame away, that mistake with the flights has actually given her the opportunity to see that that's not where her future, her path of growth lies.
Yep.
And Ted, bless you, Ted. You're the best, Ted. We love you, Ted. Ted knows this. And that's why he's here, because he's like, I don't, basically he was like, I don't know what to tell you. And I don't know how to have this discussion, but this is what, we need to talk about this. And, I appreciated it because never once did he say, I really want this job. He didn't have to. She knew
Yep.
that he wanted the job, And again, let's roll back to season 1 Alexis. This would not have gone down in any way, shape, or form like this at all if this was season 1 Alexis.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now we forward to season 6 Alexis, and do you see what huge character arc and changes that she has gone through? It's beautiful and it's amazing and I love it. And that's why ultimately I was okay with what happened.
Yeah, I agree. And at one point, I don't remember exactly at what point it was, but she said, I can't go with you. And Ted said, I wouldn't let you.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And that was just such a beautiful,
it was perfection.
Love letter to each other.
It was perfection. It was so perfection. And apparently that was actually his last day on set too. So not only were they saying goodbye to each other as characters, but it was also goodbye to each other as actors. How sad is that, right? Anyhow. So basically that the bottom line, they come to this agreement and they come to this decision that we've been good together. We do love each other, but for now we need to go our separate ways. So, I guess technically it's a breakup, but it was so sweet and so beautiful. And holy cow, please give our girl an Emmy.
Yes.
She was so good. I mean, she's good all the time, but she was so good and so powerful in this episode that, that's what I kept tweeting last night. I was just tweeting out going, oh my gosh, Annie, I love you. You're so amazing. Yeah.
It was beautiful all the way around. And I think one of the big things too that, kind of tells the whole story about Alexis and her, who she's become as a person is the fact that, all the stories that we've loved over 6 seasons of her being kidnapped by pirates in Somalia or whatever the case might be, it usually was attached to her following a boy somewhere, and finally Alexis has grown enough as a person to just be like, this is what I want, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm not gonna chase a boy. And I just love that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. It was like I said, this episode, and you and I have been, I don't want to say critical exactly, but we've gone meh over a couple of episodes that
Yep.
they were fine. We laughed, we loved, it was okay, but this one and the Moira Rose, and what was the other one? It was
The
the
bedwetting
second.
one. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. So the magic is absolutely here in season 6, and we are completely here for it. Now, Jamie, last night I tweeted out because I had to. I tweeted out. It was about I don't know, 2 hours after I had been sitting with my thoughts. You and I did not talk about this because we both just had a day, and so we were like, we need to process. We will come back and we will like recap this the next day. So that's also why you guys are getting this on a Friday or on a Thursday, not on Wednesday, like I try to get out. But a little while after the show, I tweeted out and I said, on the Schitt's Creek bright side, there's no way we'd have 2 heartbreaking episodes, right? So,
Right.
phew, deep breaths. And I'm picking out my dress for the wedding, Dan Levy. And he liked my tweet.
Are you serious? I am literally crying right now, like having a moment. Oh my gosh. How did you not pass out right then and there? I am looking at it right now and like shaking because my name is right next to his, so we're basically best friends.
Basically, that is the way that works. I do believe
Right.
that's the Twitter rules, man. So yeah, and that again, it's always cool when a celebrity like pays attention to you on social media. I have had John Stamos tweet me before and stuff, and so it was really exciting. However, I'm taking it to mean that he is actually maybe agreeing that from here on out we're going to have sunshine and roses and happiness for our
1,000%.
roses, right? That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm rolling with. That's my love and hope and dreams that's what that meant by him simply liking my tweet.
Dan, if you're listening to this, I still trust you. It wavered for a second last night, but I still trust you.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think, and have you had a chance to watch it again? Because I watched it 2 more times today. And guys, let me tell you, I am somebody who doesn't like to get into my feelings like on purpose. I I, I like to feel happiness more than I like to feel sadness. And so I try to surround myself with comedies, right? That's why I like this show so much. And as much as this wrecked me a little bit last night, I watched it again today, and then I watched it one more time, and I was like, yeah, this might be one of my top 5 episodes.
I can see that. I haven't had a chance to watch it again yet. But just I did watch the after show that they put on their Instagram account, where they just kind of talk about the episode, and just listening to them talk about it and seeing some of the pictures today on Twitter of like, where they had them sitting together in the booth, and her dress draped down over the end. It was just so beautiful.
I know the whole thing was it was just well done, like everything in this show, and I loved it so much. I loved it so much. Some other things that happened. The presidential suite was adorable and cute, and was very Moira, but at the same time, then I had this big love for Roland and Jocelyn for doing what they're doing in order to try to make this new business venture a success. And that just goes to show how much they believe
Yes.
in not only their town, but also the roses. And I know Johnny gets it. I mean, I think he needed that reminder, or he needed to see it, but I know he gets it. So that was great.
Because they're renting out their extra room to, because they had to get money to pay for the hotel.
Yep.
So
yeah, which is a big deal. So, and then the other great, we got Ray. Ray was there to take these pictures, and it was so good to see Ray again. I just adore Ray, but I adore even more. This is also on Twitter, and Dan even said, "Give us the Ray treatment" on Twitter, and so people have responded. And so Jamie sent me this picture, which is now my lock screen on my phone. If you listen to any other episodes of this podcast, you might pick up that I like a little bit of Disney in my life. In fact, there's another podcast called the No Guilt Disney podcast that is all Disney all the time. If you want to go hop over and take a listen to that. So I am very serious about my love for Disney. All right. probably my number one fandom, right behind Dan Levy, maybe.
So Dan, if
Anywho,
you're listening to this, if you want to go with Patty to Disney World, I mean,
yeah,
she's
you know
down.
what? Schitt's Creek is featured at Disney World in a sense. Just those two
Oh my
actors,
goodness.
not characters, but they're themselves promoting Canada. And that was like the crossover of my dream. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Schitt's Creek meets Disney World. I can't
It
stand
was
it.
the crossover of your dream until I sent you the picture today
Yes.
of
So Jamie sent me this great picture. Somebody took the picture of the boys. That is one of their engagement photos. And if you remember in the episode, what do they say? We don't want to look like people that got married at theme parks.
yep.
Which, Dan, there's nothing wrong with that. But I love this picture because it's the boys in front of Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland. And it's just epic. So I had to, sorry, Rob, I removed my husband from my screen saver and I put these
I
two.
mean,
It was a perfect combination of everything I love right now. So not that I don't love Rob, but maybe I can Photoshop him in there with the guys and then it'll be great.
there you go.
So anything else you want to say about this episode? They did not give us any preview for the
They did not.
next episode.
And you had the best explanation for it.
Yeah, and I definitely think it wasn't because they ran out of time or they didn't want to. I think it was a absolute concerted choice and reason. And I think next week will be light and beautiful and funny, and a preview would have ruined this very emotional, important moment. Plus, we're saying goodbye to Dustin, so it's that too. I mean, I think that it was just very classy all around to let that fade out with the music and them sitting together in the booth saying their goodbye just be the last thing that we know that we took away from last night's episode. So it was just so good. Just
Beautiful.
chef's kiss all over
it. Yes. So my only two takeaways, I think it was when Alexis was talking to Twyla when she was trying to contemplate, what to do and all that. She said, "So do I run away with some random island to be with the love of my life? I did that with Harry Styles, and England was like way too rainy."
She's dated everybody.
Oh, loved it. Even in times of stress,
we still got an Alexis
Alexis.
story. That's
Yes.
right. We still got an Alexis story. Oh, and when you said we were going back to the beginning, where did you see that? You saw Schitt's Creek's Twitter account.
Schitt's Creek's Twitter account.
Yeah. Okay. So I also loved very much how they did this. It was not heavy-handed. It was very lightly, but emotionally and sweetly well done.
Mhm.
Alexis she comes in after running like she has done a million times on this show. Twyla's like, "Hey, you want a smoothie?" Which she has said a million times on this show. And Alexis kind of like glances away and she's definitely distracted, but she has this moment where she remembers meeting Ted for the first time. And they brought that scene back for just a moment. And it was lovely. It was lovely. Sometimes those throwbacks can, I don't know, feel super heavy-handed, I think, but I thought this one was just so well done.
I did. I loved it. It was really great. So I don't have any complaints. The only thing, like I said, is if you're feeling blue a little bit after watching it, head out to Twitter and just go down that thread that Dan said, go ahead and give us the Ray treatment because it's worth it.
Oh, I'm going to collect some of those tweets and I'm going to put them in a blog post. I'll link it in the show notes because I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed, right? And it's going to be on there because these are so great. And I do think that's the perfect answer if you're ever having a blue day and you need to go and just think about how wonderful this show can be. That's the moment. So it just everything about this was just so well done. So
I've already mentally bought 72 mouse pads of the boys.
So great. And by the way, I still use a mouse pad. I think I might be the only person in the entire world, but I would take a Schitt's Creek mouse pad if anybody wants to send me one with the boys in front of the Cinderella castle. I will absolutely cherish that and use that for forever because I still use a mouse pad because I'm old. Anywho. All right. Well, definitely this one is worth watching again and again and again. And next week we will be back to talk about more Schitt's Creek. And thanks as always, Jamie. Thanks everyone for fangirling with us. And come back and fangirl with us again real soon. Bye.
Bye.